Hello YouTube, and it's time for book reviews with John. Okay, so the second book that I read, and I actually picked it up around when I was about 3/4 of the way through, The Behaviors of Moth by Poppy Adams, was Stag Hunt by Annie McGowan, and I have to say, I was actually pleasantly surprised. I was looking through the thriller section, and it's all the same shit. It's spies, history, Civil War crap, spies and World War II stuff, and spies and World War II stuff. And I wanted some actual murder mysteries, like some serious. I want, to wonder. I want people to die. I want, kind of a mind game to ensue. I actually want real. I don't want some spy bullshit. Oh, spy bullshit. That's an entire thing that's filled in the thriller section. It pisses me off. So I picked up a book called Stag Hunt. And I was thinking, okay, I don't know what this book is going to be about, but I really liked the cover. It was kind of one of those Rorschach tests, and it was the blocks and everything, and it was in the shape of a stag's head with antlers and everything, and the thumbnails as fingerprints as the eyes, and it was bloody, and it was very minimalistic but good cover art. As an artist, I admit I have a weakness for good aesthetics and cover art on books, and it's always the same thing in thriller books, big, bold type, fear, the spy who shot me, and then it's all like flames and some like really bad, like weird textured graphic guy running down a hallway or something like that, and bullets blazing or something. It's the same shit. So I was very pleasantly surprised with the cover art, the name, and okay, I said, okay, this book might be good. It might be the one that I'm looking for. I'm going to give it a shot. So I flipped open the inside of the thing and, the brief little synopsis of what this book is even going to happen. Because I don't want to check out a book and get halfway through and go, shit, and toss it back. Sorry. Hiccups early in the morning. So basically, the premise of the book was started off for me as there was a boy who went to this all-boys military school, and he was abused. And he was abused by 5 people, sexually. The one who smiled, the one who hurt, the shy one, the one who cried, and the one who kissed. And you don't know who this boy is. And so he was sexually assaulted by these five kids. And so the one who would smile would, sneak in and all smiles and do the business and, sexually abuse him and have his way with him. And then there was the one who hurt, who was basically a sadist. The shy one who would kind of try to make moves but would run out, before he could do anything. The one who cried, who would basically, do it but cry the entire time, and you read it from the point of view of the person who was abused, so it's kind of like, he's psychologically analyzing them, and just kind of like, how they act basically affects the way that he perceives it. And then the one who kissed, and that was like the worst one to him, because it was like, it wasn't just abuse, it was like trying to mix intimacy and abuse, and so it was, it's a really powerful opening chapter because it's just really kind of horrible and raw, and it punches you right in the heart, and you're kind of like, oh wow. And then it jumps over, and we have a completely different character, and he's the main character of the book, and he basically has kind of a past life that we slowly uncover throughout the book, but he works as a tax evasion officer, and so he basically does all the tax and collects tax from all, and it's also set in England. And so he basically gets a call from his friend Dom that he's invited to a stag party because he's getting married, and that he's invited to come. And so he goes to this stag party reluctantly, and there's 6 other people. Dom, who's his friend, and then his 5 other friends. And so actually seven people. Anyways, there's only a couple of them there, and so you're trying to figure out who's the killer, who's one of the abusers, or who's who, or and it's kind of from this point of view of the main character, and so you kind of get into the characters of every single one of them. And so slowly throughout the book you read it from the point of view of the killer and every single one of them and the main character, and as he talks about his life and how he basically was took advantage of a mentally disabled girl, and how he kind of has this hate in his heart for himself because he feels like he was a sexual abusing monster as well, and he kind of comes to grips with it, and he finds love in this remote cabin where this stag party is happening. And so it talks about kind of the military and the psychological stuff that happens to them, and just basically sexual identity from child abuse, and a couple of the characters who are actually genuine homosexuals, and it's really interesting, and it's really real and hard, and I wouldn't recommend this book to a lot of people because I know that people have triggers, and it's a very triggery book because there's a lot of dark issues in this book. Masochism, sadism, sexual abuse, rape, all sorts of stuff. It's not necessarily really dark and horrifying. It's just it's real, and it talks to you about the issues in postpartum. I'm not postpartum. PTSD and just the psychologicalness that goes into, I guess, young boys. And it's interesting because we talk, and I'm reading Lolita, and so it's kind of talking about the sexual identity of young girls and stuff. But to see it from this perspective, and especially with the all boys school and a very conservative type thing, just a little bit of hints and things from perhaps a teacher and stuff can make people do things, and just the temptations and the issues that are surrounding, I guess, a very fragile environment and psyche of a young male with body issues, or passive violent domestic abuse in their lives, or nightmares, or one who's very pretty, and because of that is seen as a very feminine boy, and is then therefore stereotyped against. And it is really interesting, and it's really real, and I have to admit it was very thrillery, and I was actually happily able to go along with the ride and wonder what happened next. I made educated guesses, and a couple of them were right, and a couple of them were way off. And because of that, it was a good murder mystery, and it was a good psychological thriller. It's really sad because it's this guy's first book, Andy McGowan, and it's really good, and I would recommend it to anyone who doesn't have an issue with reading that type of stuff. But it really makes you think, and it really makes you just go, well, and take a step back, because it's pretty full on and a great book. I 8.5, 9 out of 10 easily. I was very pleasantly surprised to stumble upon this hidden gem of a book. So I have to admit, I was very happy with it. And it's real. It's dark. It doesn't sugarcoat anything for you. Lots of language, lots of just real issues, and it gets to you. It's a good book. So yeah, that was the one that I picked up, and I actually finished it before The Behaviors of Moths, because it was so good that I literally couldn't put it down. I was watching the Olympics with my wife, and it was just so good that I was like, I need to finish this. I don't want to watch the Olympics right now. I have to finish this chapter. I might know who the killer is, and it was good. So, Stag Hunt by Andy McGowan. Pick it up if you think you can handle reading that type of stuff. It's a really good book. Yeah. So, yeah. I read those two, and now I'm gonna read Lolita, and then I'm gonna probably read Possession. I was reading some ghost stories earlier yesterday afternoon. So like The Body Snatchers and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's really interesting to, I guess, kind of read thrillers and horrors because it deals with the whole dark side and psychology of the human mind. And I don't know. I guess just in the middle of my depression or whatever I'm facing, it's just interesting that, I guess, kind of to see how other people think and work, and it gives me that little bit of happiness to dissect and stories and understand where people are coming from. And yeah, good book, good books, good books in general. I'm really actually excited about the books that I'm reading even now. Lolita's gonna be a good book. I know that for sure. And I think Possession. I actually haven't read that one, but I'm a huge fan of Dostoevsky's works, so I'm gonna probably enjoy the hell out of that as well. And I'm hoping to pick up maybe another thriller sometime. So lots of reading. Reading's good. I didn't fall in love with reading until probably only like 2 years ago. But now I just can't seem to put down books and articles and magazines and journals and, you know, guides to photography and entomology and psychology and all sorts of stuff. But it's interesting. So reading's cool, yo. Yeah. So that's Stag Hunt by Andy McGowan. Great book. Pick it up. And I will see you next time. Probably when I'm making videos of me playing Silent Hill. So look forward to that. Bye.